Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast. So we finished all of the Chinese language films that are in my DVD collection, and now we're about to crack into the South Korean films. I know I've been uploading quite a few of these videos over the past month or so, basically one every other day. So there's a lot of content that I'm inundating you with. You might feel a little bit overwhelmed, but remember, it's all in a very nice playlist organized for you, so don't feel obligated to watch the entirety of every video as soon as it's released. You can make your way through the playlist as you have time. And I'm hoping that these are actually somewhat useful because I'm, showing my DVD collection, but I'm also giving maybe just a little flavor of each film, just enough info that maybe you could get some recommendations. So let's get cracking on South Korea. And the first film tonight is an excellent one. That is 3 Iron. A Kim Ki-duk film. Now you'll have to forgive my Korean pronunciation of names, and also another odd thing I have with Korean names is that sometimes I'll say the surname first, other times I'll say it last. Like Kim Ki-duk, the surname's first. Another example would be Choi Min-sik, surname first. But most of the time, the Korean names, when I list them in my notes, the surname is last, like Byung-hun Lee. So if there's a little inconsistency there, just forgive me. But this one's very interesting. It's basically about a guy who, he breaks into people's homes, and he'll stay there for the night. He'll maybe eat your food. Perhaps he'll take a shower. But while he's there, he'll look around, and if he sees something that's broken, he'll fix it for you, So at least, if you're going to break into my home and use it while I'm out of town, at least you could fix up the, the dripping sink, faucet, or perhaps the broken clock. So that's nice of him. But along the way, he meets a woman. She kind of tags along with him. Now, this is a bit of, for lack of a better term, maybe a little bit of an artsier flick, but it's very interesting because there are multiple films in this man's filmography where the protagonists will not speak to one another throughout most, if not all, of the film. So a lot of this film is dialogue-less, which is a nice change of pace. Because a lot of films nowadays will use like verbal exposition to get things through, and it's a nice change of pace. Definitely very interesting, and I definitely recommend this. This is a very good romance film. A little bit different too. Now, our next film here is also very interesting premise, and that is 26 Years. You may not have heard this one. Now, this is actually based off of a real-life event, and then it spins off into a fictional event. So, it's based on the real-life Gwangju massacre of 1980, when the South Korean army opened fire on civilian demonstrators, killing hundreds of them. So the fictional plot in this film basically plays off the fact that it was believed that the South Korean president at the time ordered this extermination, for lack of a better term, and he was actually convicted of crimes associated with this event in real life. If you look it up, he was convicted with like 15 different charges, and then one of the future presidents, or connected to one of them, pardoned him of his crimes. So this movie says, okay, let's have 5 protagonists that are related to the victims that try to take this guy out and, demand justice in the most final way possible. And I remember seeing trailers of this movie that look sweet. I mean, it's such a controversial topic in real life, and it's such an interesting premise. I think this film didn't really tap on all of that premise. I remember it being a good movie, but it wasn't as good as I was hoping. I remember the script being pretty loose and not particularly strong, but it is worth watching. It's definitely a film that you don't see made in many countries. So 26 Years, this was a pretty good one, but it did not live up to the hype that I had in my mind of it. Our next film is another quite different film, and that is The Actresses. So this is almost like a pseudo-documentary style. You have these actresses who play themselves, who go to like a Vogue photo shoot, And then during the shoot and after it, they basically hang out, and that's the entire movie. So if you if you want to be like a fly on the wall while real life South Korean actresses kind of talk about the business or other aspects of their lives, this is a pretty good film. The reason I got it was because Ok-bin Kim is one of the actresses in it, and I have a huge crush on her. This was interesting. Definitely it's slow paced, but it has some humor in it. It's actually primarily a comedy, I would say. It's pretty good stuff. I recommend it. The actresses. Now next one, I think was an indie film in South Korea, and that is Adlib Night. Now this one, when it came out, was very highly acclaimed, I believe. And this is the film that introduced me to Hyo-joo, who I'm a big fan of now. This film, again, listen to the premise of this one. You have a girl walking down the street, and two strangers walk up to her and say, "Wait, are you, is that you? Are you so-and-so's daughter from our village? You look just like her." And she isn't that person. But these two guys say, "Hey, listen, this older man is on his deathbed. We can't find his daughter to see him one last time. Can you pretend to be her? Because he's going to die any day now. And it would be really helpful and meaningful to do it for him." And so she thinks about it. She's like, "Yeah, okay." And she goes to this family function for like a day or two. And it says a lot of low-key content to it. It's pretty slow-paced. But it's got very good acting, an interesting premise, and it mostly makes the most of it. So Adlib Night is a good one. I recommend it. I'm not sure if it's still floating around. I bought this years ago on DVD, but that's another rec for you. Hyo-joo, my introduction to her. All right, this next film I did a full review on my channel. That is The Advocate, A Missing Body. Now, let me just get the premise right for you here, just so you know. Definitely check out my review of this. So this defense attorney is assigned to a sketchy murder case, and then there's a hidden scheme that he has to figure out throughout the course of the film. Now, Sun-kyun Lee is the lead actor in this. I'm a big fan of this guy. He's been in a ton of stuff. He's been in a bunch of movies and TV series, and I think, as I said in my review, that this is his best performance of his career, and that's saying something. So check out my review of this one, my full-length review. I give all the a good number of spoiler-free details. This is a very entertaining movie, very entertaining. And this was the Region 3 release, by the way. I don't think it has a U.S. release yet. All right, this one. Excellent romantic comedy, All About My Wife. So Sun-kyun Lee is also in this one. Now I saw this one way back. Well, it's 2012 film, so I didn't see it that long ago. But this is another example of how I love South Korean romantic comedies. We got Su-jeong Lim in this. And it's about this guy who he's so sick of his wife because she nags so much and annoys him that he's like, "Listen, I gotta get a divorce." And he hires this dude up here, this suave ladies man, to seduce her, to kind of coerce the divorce out of her. Things don't go quite as planned. So this has excellent cast. The third guy in this is excellent too. His name is Ryu. Man, I'm terrible. But he's been excellent in a whole bunch of stuff as well. I've seen him in a handful of movies. This guy up here. In this movie, he's almost like the Dos Equis guy. Remember in those Dos Equis commercials where the most interesting man in the world? That's basically what he is. So I found that very amusing. This is a very high-quality romantic comedy. It's a lot of fun. In some industries, I don't talk about this a lot, but I will as I continue my channel. Some film industries just have certain positives, certain things that they do well, better than others. And I think South Korea's romantic comedy portfolio or filmography is very impressive over the past 15 or so years. So if you're not a fan of romantic comedies, I definitely suggest watching a few from South Korea. It might change your mind. Alright, our next film here I also did a review for on my channel, a full-length review. That's Assassination. It's excellent cast in this. Definitely check out my review. It's set during Japanese-occupied Korea, and let me get the proper description. 2 assassinations are plotted against pro-Japanese targets. So you have a hit team that's assembled. Ji-hyun is the lead actress in this. You know, she was in My Sassy Girl and some other really good movies. You probably recognize her. And again, check out my review. I thought the use of 1930s technology was pretty cool in this too. Variety said that it's sensationally entertaining, and I agree. Now, Assassination, you'll see in some of the Korean films, I mentioned this in my review, some of them have pretty complicated stories that you might have to watch the film multiple times to get. Some people find it to be overly convoluted, but I actually kind of like it. You know, it definitely increases repeat viewings. And there's more films I'm gonna show you here that have complicated plots. The next film does not. But it's still a newer classic, and that is Attack the Gas Station. Yes. I saw this movie when I just started getting into Asian movies, and it's basically about these guys. They go to a gas station. They basically try to rob it, and you know, there's not any money in the teller, you know, in the actual cash register, and the safe, they can't figure out you know, the combination of the safe or whatever. So they're like, man, this is such a waste of our time. And then a customer pulls up, and they service him, you know, fill up his tank, and the guy pays cash. And they're like, well, wait a second, why don't we just serve customers all night, pocket the money, and then just go home in the morning? And that's basically the premise of the movie. And all the, you know, the gas station attendants are in the gas station, like, service area, and the, you know, the gangster dudes are kind of watching over them. It's a comedy. And if you've ever been in customer service, like I worked at a drugstore, a pharmacy kind of thing during college, just for money to pay off my tuition or whatever. You know, if you've ever dealt with customers, this is a good movie to watch, because these guys they don't put up with any crap. So when a customer rolls up in their car and they start giving them attitude, that's when the movie gets really funny. You know what I mean? Because they don't put up with anything. And it gets pretty crazy at times near the end. This movie's a lot of fun. I recommend Attack the Gas Station. And actually, just a few years ago, they must have released this on Region 1, because that's this. It used to be very difficult to find this with English subtitles, actually. I think that Region 3 came out and then went out of print for a while, and it was just like out of print for a while, and then somebody released it. So I think it's widely available. Check it out. Our next film tonight, this is another big one. Let me look up my review here just to make sure I get the plot right. Alright, so this is a film by our good friend Joon-ho Bong, and that is Barking Dogs Never Bite. This is his most underrated, underappreciated film in his entire filmography. I don't hear people talk about this one nearly as much. You know, they'll talk about Memories of Murder, or Mother, or Snowpiercer, or whatever, but they're all very good movies. And this one's definitely one of his best. This is, again, it's like a genre bender. It's another thing that I think that the South Korean film industry does very well is, you know, they got the romantic comedies, they got their thrillers, they got their genre benders, and this is one of them. It's about, let me get this right here. I haven't seen this one in a little while. A man attempts to rid his apartment complex of loud dogs while a girl looks for a missing puppy. So they're kind of at odds, but this girl doesn't really know this guy's out to take out the dogs. So you got Doon-ha Bae as the lead actress, one of the first roles I saw her in. became a fan of hers after watching this and a few other films, like Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. And this movie, it has comedy to it. It's got drama to it. It's got some suspense. I remember there's like one scene in here that almost makes it feel like a horror movie for a few minutes. So it seamlessly kind of blends all these things together into a single film. Very interesting movie. It's got a lot of really cool scenes that, some scenes that are quite surprising too. Definitely recommend Barking Dogs Never Bite. Very good. All right, our next one here I will cover in my Asian horror playlist, but we haven't reached 2010 yet. This movie was released in 2010, and it's an anthology film from South Korea called Be With Me. Let me just see if there's another alternate title to this. Let's see here. Alright, yeah, it's called Ghost is the alternate title. So it's got 3 short horror films here, about 100 minutes in total. And this is a pretty good one. I remember one of these shorts being kind of mediocre, but the other 2 being quite good. I'll go through all the plot and stuff once we get into the Asian horror playlist from 2010. But this was a good one. This was pretty good. The reason why I got this is because I think Kkob-bi Kim is one of the lead actresses in this. And I watch everything she's in after I saw Midnight Ballad for Ghost Theater. But this is a pretty good one. Be With Me, South Korean anthology horror film. Check out my Asian horror playlist. I'll get to that one soon. Alright, our next film here is a big one. It's a big one. This is the Berlin File. Now this one is probably my favorite film from this particular director. And again, bear with me here. Seung-wan Ryu. He's done a bunch of good action flicks that I'm going to cover on this channel. The Berlin File is one where you basically have an illegal arms deal that goes bad, and a North Korean agent finds himself in the crosshairs of an international manhunt in Berlin. Now, one thing I noticed on this movie is that it has some similarities to the Jason Bourne franchise in the United States, but I actually think this movie's better than any of the Bourne films. And I did enjoy the first 3 Bourne films. Haven't seen the most recent one yet. I'm waiting for DVD for that one. But this one I think is similar to those, and it's better. Better, I would say, camera work during the action. I like the actors in this. There's some big-name actors in this, too. What do we got here? We got Suk-kyu, who's in Shiri and a bunch of other good stuff. Jung-woo, who's obviously awesome in just about everything. So this has got a lot of action in it. Excellent sound design. Just like Assassination, the plot is complicated. You might have to watch it a few times to get everything that's going on during the first half. And I think Ji-hyun is in this too. So yeah, this has got a real good cast. It's got a good ending to it. Solid action thriller right here. The Berlin File. Check it out. Then I have the Region 3 release as well of the Berlin File, because I couldn't wait for the Region 1. And then the Region 1 came out like a year later, and I got that. Alright, we got time for one more here. A Bittersweet Life. This is a solid flick, man. Now, I'm going to get the proper... Actually, I don't even think I need to look this one up, really, but... So this is a movie with Byung-hun Lee as the lead actor. Ji-woon Kim is the director. So, right off the bat, you're dealing with some good quality stuff here. And there's some actors in this that were early in their careers that became big as well, and you'll notice their faces when they show up. It's about, this guy's like a bodyguard for a gangster, and the gangster dude basically tells him, listen, I'm going out of town, I'm dating this young girl, and I think she's fooling around on me. I want you to tail her and look over her, and if she starts messing around with any guys, bury her. You know what I'm saying? So, the plot flows from there. It starts off more like a drama, and then it shifts into kind of an action flick. And this has got some excellent kind of shootouts, some pretty intense confrontations. This is, I got to do a full-length review of this on my channel at some point. Outstanding performance by the lead. This is a very good movie. I really like the sound design in this, too. There's some great moments. There's a moment where this guy goes to get like a Russian gun, and something happens, and it's fantastic. There's a lot of memorable moments. I love this movie, Bittersweet Life. Definitely check this one out if you haven't already. So that's it for tonight. So be sure to join me for part 2, because it'll be coming soon. See you next time.